This should be a wake-up call for a lot of people. Oh my goodness. So there is a vote that happened recently, and I wanted to do a video on it because I don't think a lot of people covered this. And I think this is absolutely crucial for Black Americans. This is very much a wake-up call. And what I'm referring to, there was a vote that took place in Chicago and was during the city council. And what they were voting on was whether or not Chicago people were able to decide whether or not Chicago remains a sanctuary city. That's what was going to be as far as a vote. Not saying as far as, hey, yes or no, but to give the people of Chicago an option to choose. That being said, I watched the clips of this city council meeting, and what was alarming to me, and this is something that Dr. Claude Anderson says in Powernomics, and he talks about as far as immigration. He also talks about this in Black Labor, White Wealth. He talks about how immigration, he says, hey, if you didn't get anything as a minority in this country, you're sure as heck not going to get anything as a super minority. And they are very much bringing an influx of people in to substitute you. And if you don't think amnesty is going to happen, you're out of your mind. Best believe is if it happened with Reagan, it will definitely happen. Maybe not the next president, but the president after that. They are working with amnesty. That's what they are working towards. And once that happens, overnight, your vote goes bye-bye. It goes bye-bye. If you become, as I've warned Black people, you become politically extinct. That's what happens. Overnight. When that occurs, just so we're on the same page. When this woman, because this woman goes up and grabs the mic to speak on this referendum, and this should be just a significant wake-up call to everyone. It should be just a dire call, because she goes up on the mic, and mind you, this is the only country where this can happen. She goes up on the mic and talks about how she's an immigrant and how she has been an illegal immigrant, she says undocumented, for I believe over 20-something years. Over 20-something years, 25, 26, she has been illegal. She came over here at 4, which from my understanding, I believe she's granted it under the DACA ruling, where they were talking about, hey, we kicked these fools out of here, but they were like, nah, keep them here. Now they fought for that.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
My name is Claudia Marchan. I'm the Executive Director of Northern Illinois Justice for Our Neighbors, an immigrant justice organization that provides free immigration legal services to all immigrants who need them throughout Chicago and Northern Illinois. I'm also here with ICER. I am an immigrant myself. I came to the United States at the age of 4, was undocumented for 26 years, and documented for 9 years. Total of 35 years. As you can imagine, 35 years is a long time to live in the shadows.
I beg your pardon. I beg your pardon.
Hispanics fought for DACA. They were intruding on meetings, every day protesting. That's what they fought for, and they got it. Okay? I don't recall the last thing that Black Americans have fought for from the Democrat Party. I don't recall that. I think we're even losing our resolve when it comes to reparations in that regard. But in reparation, that's a whole nother beast to tackle. When it comes to this woman speaking, she talks about this, and it has only recently, or only for a few years, I think 5 years or something, she's become documented. Now, documented doesn't mean citizen, so I guess she's just been documented to allow to work here in the country, which is wild, absolutely wild. But she goes on to talk about how her and the company she works for, I think Pathway, I forgot what the company's called, Justice for Your Neighbors or something like that. But she goes on to talk about how her and her company she works for and the volunteers have fought very hard. Listen to what I'm saying, Black people, how they fought very hard to make sure that Chicago was a sanctuary city. Okay, and Illinois was welcoming. That's what they fought very hard for.
We also fought really hard with our leaders and our volunteers to make Chicago a sanctuary city and Illinois a welcoming state.
for Chicago, I want to repeat it, to be a sanctuary city. Now, I don't have a problem with that per se, because I wouldn't have an issue with that if we had black organizations that were fighting to not make it a sanctuary city. And I'm unaware of these organizations. I'm not a Chicagoan, I'm a Los Angelino, but if you're aware of these, then we need to give resources to them. We need to make them more prominent with people who are willing to donate. They got to push back. That's the only way. You have to push back. She has made more progress, I would argue, than we have in decades. That's what I would argue. Than we have in decades. That's what I would argue. And she did that through organizing. She came here at 4, illegal, for a good chunk of the vast majority of her life. Managed to get into a business or a corporation, organization, nonprofit, whatever the hustle is, and then had the people in the community and the volunteers to fight for making it a sanctuary city, something that would benefit her. As she goes on to say, not me, she said that this benefited her and her family because she was allowed to be with them for all these years. That's what she said.
This is why sanctuary city status is so important to my family, as it kept us together for an uncertain 35 years.
But the cherry on top of her statement, the cherry on top, and I hope people understand this, the cherry on top is not even all of that. That's not even an issue. The issue is that she's making it a racial argument. That's what she's doing. She's saying that, hey, by having this be a sanctuary city, it helps as far as the communities of BIPOC, right? BIPOC and all immigrants avoid racial discrimination.
Sanctuary city status provides protections for our current clients at Justice for Our Neighbors. It protects them from racial profiling.
Now, I don't know how she got racial discrimination. No, she might as well go vote for the get a lottery ticket, okay? Because she's pulling rabbits out the hat. I honestly think she may be just a magician, because that is some wild leaps of logic. Because what you have to understand, she's playing off of our history, okay? That's what you have to understand. She's saying, hey, look, we're all benefited because they're going to discriminate against us by the color of our skin. Now, if you don't miss me with that nonsense, if you don't miss me with that absolute nonsense, it has nothing to do with the color of your skin, boo-boo. Has nothing to do with that. What it has to do with, as far as your documentation, whether or not you are illegal or an illegal in this country. In addition, when it comes to as far as the influx in many of these black communities that are now being transitioned, they're now being gentrified. You're now being kicked out. That is what's happening. I know what's happening here in LA, so I can only imagine in Chicago. So, but you have to understand, that's the argument that she's trying to put forth. And it's very tough to combat that. It's very tough to combat that if the Democrats as a whole have been like, hey, this is what we want. This is a great thing. It benefits BIPOC, and they're being racist against you. Oh, this is horrible. Oh, this is xenophobic. Listen, bruh, I'm telling you, you cannot allow them to make that argument. You can't allow them to make that argument, because the same nonsense argument was made when it came to gay marriage. When it comes to, hey, well, it has to do with equality, it had nothing to do with, it has to do with I'm born that way, has nothing to do with that. You see where that born that way, that heavy lifting, that born that way has led us to where we are. Where now they're saying little Deshaun can be little Shaniqua. That's what they're saying, all right? Now, they've done that with little Timmy and little Susie. now they want to get to the black community, all right? That's what they're trying to do. So you can't allow them to just do wordplay like that. And what's extremely disheartening is the person that falls behind her. I believe his name was George something. I can't remember his last name. But he goes up and says, hey, no, this isn't good. This is actually harming the black community. Matter of fact, hey, you're taking us out. You're removing us from our neighborhoods. He talks about as far as immigration, like, hey, not illegal immigration. You come here legally. That's what needs to happen.
I am anti-immigrant, illegal, call ICE, send them all back, waiting across the Rio Grande and don't obey our immigration and naturalization laws. and watch my minutes, because you should have it up here and over here, because they steal my minutes.
He talks about, how black people are the only people who are slaves here, and this shouldn't happen. And that had Trump needs to build that wall and yada, yada, yada. Now, mind you,
we are the only people in America that was enslaved in America. We are not immigrants. We're not migrants. We belong. Listen! We didn't come over waiting and looking for something. And when we came over, we did work. But it was free labor that built this country. Black labor that built this country. White power. And to see another group come over here, it's disgraceful. It is un-American.
we're coming off a thunderous applause for her. Everyone was applauding. Asians, Indians, blacks, white, everyone. When this man comes up, he talks about, hey, I'm here to represent on behalf of black Americans. That's who I'm fighting for.
If they clap again, I can say, boo. I'm strictly advocating for black people. Trump, come in here. Clean this mess up.
Guess what happened? You got maybe two people.
And that's not my...
Thank you, Mr. Blakemore, for your comments.
And make Illinois unsafe for all.
Now, I want you to understand that this was voted against. This was voted against. And there were more than enough black people on the council to at least make a stand. I think what people of Chicago, the black people of Chicago, should do was take names and numbers and protest and get these mofos out. Find out when the next election is to get them out and vote them out and replace them with someone who's going to vote on behalf of you, on behalf of your interests. I want you to understand. That's why I'm talking about, listen, we're not in the best predicament as a collective. So we have to deal with the cards that have been laid in front of us, all right? We have to deal with where we are right now. Not where we were in 2016, not where we were in 2002, not where we were in 1930, okay? We have to deal with where we are right now. Who are the big players involved, all right? And where are our opportunities? That's what we have to deal with. So this whole fracturing of the collective is not the best route to go, I would argue. It's not the best route. We have got to play smart. All right? That's what needs to happen. There's got to be organizing. There's got to be building. There's got to be some trust involved. 100%. And I know the internal and external forces are doing everything in their power to thwart that. But we've got to overcome. All right? They have to. Or else there is extinction. You have to take this seriously. There is extinction. And if you don't mind that, then so be it. All right? I always advise y'all, hey, as a backup, just in case we are too fractured beyond repair, just as a backup, I suggest you learn Spanish or Mandarin. Anyways, guys, that's the video. Let me know what you guys think. Whether or not you believe, look, this is xenophobic, okay? This is absolutely xenophobic. Immigrants are immigrants. We're all coming here immigrants. We're all here as immigrants. That's what you have to understand, all right? You have to celebrate that. Or if you can't believe, as George said, no, some of us aren't immigrants, okay? Some of us aren't immigrants, all right? Our ancestors didn't come here for the pursuit of a good life. That's not what was happening. The American dream wasn't presented to them. They were opted out of the American dream, and we have ever since. Okay, so you can miss me with that nonsense, but we have got to start dotting I's and crossing our T's. Having said that, if you happen to disagree with the video, you're more than welcome to call in during disagreement days, which are typically held Friday through Sunday. There'll be a number on screen. You call in, we duke it out. Either or, hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please feel free to like, share, comment. Let me know what you guys think, what's going on in Chicago. I'm not from Chicago. I'm not a native of Chicago. So, that's why I don't speak very much about Chicago, because that's what a lot of, the racists do. They love to bring up Chicago, but then never bring up any solutions. So when it comes to Chicago, there needs to be some activism that takes place on behalf of black Americans, or that that's gonna spread. Because I already see it here in LA, bruh. So just saying. Feel free to share and subscribe and that fun stuff. Till next time, guys, be amazing.
Trump, come in here, clean this mess up.